gold doesn't ask you to believe. It asks you to verify. I would say younger consumers are not anti-gold. I think they are just anti-inconvenience.
What is the one thing that the gold industry knows about trust that the digital banking world perhaps still has not figured out?
Common thread between the consumer brands that I have worked with, be it Citibank, Carlsberg, IndusInd, has been trust. So, our core proposition is that, how do we, get into the cultural nuances of consumers so that it really relates to them.
How is marketing evolving in high trust categories like precious metals? And what fintech habits are you bringing to a category traditionally seen as conservative?
The shift has happened from being, trusting, having a legacy trust in brands to be actually, enabling experience-led trust. So from a legacy-based trust to experience-based trust. So now these days, consumers actually look for experience. While legacy could be important, gold is also about proof over promise. So that's one thing that digital banking can learn from gold and metals industry on how to build trust that's verifiable. And marketing today, I would say, is also about reducing friction and not just about building awareness.
How do you speak to a Gen Z or millennial consumer who might find physical gold old fashioned?
Whatever promise that you make in this category, it has to be verifiable. So verifiable promise is one thing that I've learned.
Gaurav, why MMTC-PAMP for India? Hello and welcome to MediaCast, the podcast series from MediaBrief.com. I'm your host and friend Pavan R Chawla, founder editor of MediaBrief.com, and I'm delighted that today my distinguished guest is Gaurav Nijhawan, marketing head at MMTC-PAMP, a company that is in the nation's only LBMA-accredited refinery list, pioneering the modernization of trust by evolving precious metals from traditional locker assets into dynamic lifestyle choices for a new generation of Indian investors. And that's only part of what they do. Think about it. Think about the number of such potential Indian investors and the kind of impact MMTC-PAMP can make in the Indian ecosystem. Gaurav, welcome to the show. And thank you ever so much indeed for your time. Today, we are doing this virtually, you in Delhi and I'm in Mumbai.
Thanks, Pawan, for having me here. Look forward to an insightful session.
Absolutely. Me too. Thank you, Gaurav. And special thanks also to young Tanya Rana, along with her senior colleague Pashanti Shukla of Attractor Sphere, for having made this interaction possible. We're in good conscience. So, Gaurav, let's begin with the institutional foundation of MMTC-PAMP. Let's start with the basics for our professional audience. Okay, tell us about the Swiss-Indian DNA of the brand, when it arrived in India, and the growth trajectory that led you to become India's only LBMA-accredited refinery. Also explain LBMA for professionals not familiar with it. Long question. Please take it away.
Thank you so much, Pawan, once again. So, I must admit that, it's an honor to lead MMTC-PAMP, a brand that has so much cultural relevance. And in fact, the golds and metals silver category in India has so much cultural relevance that, it's every marketeer's dream, I would say, to lead such a brand as well, right? So, when we talk about MMTC-PAMP and its background, so it was established in India back in 2008. It's a joint venture between MMTC Limited, which is the Indian government undertaking, and PAMP, which is one of the largest refiners of gold and silver in the world, and it is based in Switzerland, right? So MMTC-PAMP was basically established to, figure out the right to actually bring to the customer the right bullion golds and bars. In fact, when it was launched, it was primarily a bullion based company. But then as it evolved more, it became a consumer centric gold coins, bars, and silver coins and bars um, organization. In fact, now it has also gone into digital gold as well. In fact, we have partnerships with Paytm, GPay, PhonePe as well, and it is currently it's known for the purest form of gold and silver products any customer can actually get here. Right, and you also touched upon the fact about the LBMA accreditation, right? Why MDC PAM is the only LBMA accredited refinery in India. For people who don't know about it, LBMA stands for London Bullion Market Association, and it's actually the global standard setter in the world. What it actually means is that if you're accredited with the LBMA, then the gold that you've gotten or sold has global acceptance. It's like a global benchmark for gold and silver bars, and it has a very stringent process to actually get this kind of accreditation. It has to have like right set of purity, right set of weight, physical specification, as well as it mandates ethical sourcing as well. So we're very proud of that, and it ensures that our customers get the most purest form of product. It gives a lot of credibility to our brand, and it has international acceptance. It's like a global passport for gold.
Wonderful. The gold standard. I mean, literally. Just gift for professionals who may not be familiar with this sector and your entity that is doing so much for the whole space of precious metals. Gift for them and for me, the idiot's guide to what MMTC PAMP does and provides.
Yeah, so MMTC PAMP is now well known for providing the purest form of gold and silver products. So, the one thing to note about gold is that it's 24 karat. Right? A lot of people feel that it is the purest form of gold. But then, even in 24 karat, there are many categories. So, for example, most often you'll see jewelers selling 995, 999, or 49. So, and a lot of consumers actually do not know the difference between all these three categories. Simply said, the four nines which MMTC PAMP provides, it's the purest form of gold. And in fact, what we also do is we have a positive purity tolerance claim, which actually means is that whatever purity levels we are promising, you'll actually get more than that. So you cannot really get more pure. The purity levels there is no other brand can actually match our levels. Then we also are into silver products, which are again, the four nines like I talked about. We're also known for, like our products are known for their aesthetics appeal as well. So a lot of people use it for collectability as well. We are in fact now also like a vault for digital gold. People we have partners like Paytm, GPay, PhonePe, like I mentioned. So all of that is also being enabled by MMTC PAM. So it's making a lot of progress in the metals category.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for that. So, Gaurav, moving to fintech, the fintech gold intersection. Your background is fascinating. You've come from the high velocity worlds of IndusInd Bank, Citi, and Carlsberg. So, from that vantage point, how is marketing evolving in high trust categories like precious metals? And what fintech habits are you bringing to a category traditionally seen as conservative?
Yeah, so this is a very apt question, Pavan. In fact, I'll tell you the common thread between the consumer brands that I have worked with, be it Citibank, Carlsberg, IndusInd, has been trust, right? So for a product-based company like a Carlsberg, it is the highest quality product of beer, taste. Similarly, in the banking space as well, IndusInd Bank and Carlsberg have been known for their safety and security. The brands that you can trust. In fact, Citibank had the tagline of the city never sleeps. So it is very diligent in providing services to the customer. Right. So what I see now, things getting involved is that the shift has happened from being trusting, having a legacy trust in brands to be actually enabling experience-led trust. So from a legacy-based trust to experience-based trust. So now these days, consumers actually look for experience. They while legacy could be important, but the experience that they've gotten with while they were interacting with your product, maybe buying it or taking certain service from your product, so that has what has changed. Now, from a fintech standpoint and a banking standpoint, a superior UI UX journey or no hidden charges, would be those kind of stuff that people will trust in if you provide that. And for gold and silver, it is about the best quality product, which you can get conveniently anytime you want, and the brands you can actually not go wrong with, right? So in marketing today, I would say, is also about reducing friction, and not just about building awareness. So I would say that.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Gaurav, still on the fintech and banking intersection, and you've spent years in those sectors. Now tell me, what is the one thing that the gold industry knows about trust that the digital banking world perhaps still has not figured out?
So one important aspect we must understand is that gold doesn't ask you to believe; it asks you to verify, right? And gold is also about proof over promise. So that's one thing that digital banking can learn from gold and metals industry on how to build trust that's verifiable. So, for example, if a bank says zero charges, zero hidden charges, or best rewards program, then there has to be a way to verify what you're claiming. Like gold, you're able to verify it when you say 99.99. You're able to verify it then and there, and it will last forever. I think digital banking space also, the promise that we make as digital bankers, you should be able to verify. If you say zero hidden charges, then you should be able to verify and it should last forever. For example, you see credit cards being launched with very good rewards program, but then they also go away. I think that inconsistency in the experience should change.
Gaurav, let's look at marketing philosophy and strategy here. What is your marketing philosophy for MMTC PAMP? Who are your TGs and what media do you use the most? Talk to us about the thinking behind your recent brand campaigns and your omni-channel presence, when you want to reach both the traditional investor and the quick commerce buyer.
Right, Pavan. So I would, the core philosophy, it is the basics always would remain the same, right? Whether it is the core philosophy is trust, experience, and the accessibility, I would say. Just to give you an example, like our target group, it is actually a mix of both. Like for example, the traditional, the physical products that we have, the devotional products that we have, or the everyday gifting kind of products that we have. The TG lies people who are looking to invest, people who are actually looking at gifting their loved ones, whether they do it for physical product, they could be like slightly older, like more than 30 years to 60 years of age. For a digital gold, it is slightly more younger audience who doesn't want to commit a huge amount, but wants to start a bit from a lower standpoint. So both of these TGs are our customers, and we have the right set of products for both kind of TGs as well. Now, just to give you an example, we recently launched a bouquet of flowers, silver coin. The basic background there was that during anniversaries or special occasions, Valentine's Day, etc., people tend to give bouquet of flowers to their loved ones, right? And that's a more cultural insight that's there. But the problem was with bouquet of flowers that they will fade away, right? They will not last for long. So we came up with an idea that what if you're able to give your loved ones the essence of bouquet of flowers in a silver coin, which will not never fade away and will only grow, right? So those are the kind of storytelling that people really like. The thought that we've put in our products, right? So even in our brand campaigns, we've actually done a brand campaign with Sonakshi Sinha. We've leveraged a lot of influencers like Sharon, and you'll see some more folks coming in as well. So our core proposition is that how do we get into the cultural nuances of consumers so that it really relates to them.
Gaurav, on the cultural reimagining of gold we see today, You launched a wedding film series, a legacy of gifting tradition, and brought on Sonakshi Sinha as your first brand ambassador. Can you tell me a little more about the Sonakshi Sinha campaign, and then can we play the video here? You know.
Sure. Yeah, that's a special one for the company because it was during the time of Diwali, Dhanteras, and Sonakshi was one of our first brand ambassadors, and the Instagram handle also says Asli Sona. So it was like stars were aligned for both the brand and the celebrity, right? And she and the way we were able to create the campaign was also quite well because the way she explained for investors as well as for occasions like wedding and all of that, that MMTC is a brand that you cannot go wrong with, and gold as a category is always reliable. That played very well, and in fact we saw pretty good brand searches going up during the time when we ran that campaign. In fact, we were higher than the category itself. So it had a very good impact.
Excellent. So, Apni Sona during Diwali Dhanteras, talking about gold. Let's just watch it here, okay?
इंटेंस मामला है. मे बी सोना कैन हेल्प.
नहीं भाई, इन्वेस्टमेंट का हर मूव लॉन्ग टर्म सोच के रखना चाहिए. क्विक रिटर्न्स.
और वॉलेटाइल मार्केट्स का क्या?
व्हाट डू यू थिंक, सोना?
एग्जैक्टली, सोना. पिछले 5 सालों में गोल्ड हैज आउट परफॉर्म ट्रेडिशनल इन्वेस्टमेंट्स और एमएमटीसी पैम गोल्ड कॉइन्स और बार्स को आप कभी भी बाय या सेल कर सकते हैं एट द बेस्ट मार्केट वैल्यू.
सोना सही है.
कई सालों से नहीं गई. अरे वाह, नई बहू की वेलकम की प्रैक्टिस चल रही है.
उसे वेलकम तो हम कुछ स्पेशल देकर करेंगे.
Special, but something that stays with her forever.
और जो इनकी लेगेसी को भी बरकरार रखे.
है ना सोना?
वही तो, सोना. और वो भी एमएमटीसी पैम्प से, इंडियाज प्योरेस्ट गोल्ड. Finest Swiss craftsmanship, more gold weight than mentioned and 999.9 plus purity guaranteed. और यही गारंटी सिल्वर में भी है, always.
सोना सही है.
सेफ आज, सिक्योर कल और एक बैलेंस पोर्टफोलियो के लिए गोल्ड में इन्वेस्ट कीजिए विद एमएमटीसी पैम्प, क्योंकि सोना सही है. A wide collection of gold and silver coins and bars are available at our brand experience stores, mmtcpamp.com, the MMTC PAMP mobile app, online marketplaces, and authorized jewelers.
Is literally Asli Sona, which is a brilliant marketing fit. But beyond the face, which was beautifully kind of fit in terms of the persona, Asli Sona, her name, how do innovation and storytelling play a role in categories often seen as conservative? And how are you using these tools to shift the narrative from a locker asset to a lifestyle choice?
What we figured out is that education as a segment is very important. Now, especially when people are investing, they should know, what kind of purity levels they are buying into. What is the difference between, like I said, 4 nines, 999, 995? What is LBMA accreditation and why is it very important? What is positive weight tolerance? What is positive purity tolerance? So when we say it's the purest form of gold and silver, why do we say that? So I think the education and how people should be actually building their portfolio, how gold and silver can be a part of their investment portfolio. Whenever we showcase any educational sort of a stuff, we've seen like people really follow us and would like to learn about it. So for example, our Instagram handle now has more than 1 lakh followers. We had just about 40,000 followers in the last couple of months. But then since the time we started the educational sort of content, we can see like growth for our social media followers as well.
So the purity aspect and educating people about that part is something that is also spurring, I'm sure, a lot of interest and even growth in investments in digital gold, for instance. So regarding the quick commerce revolution, Gaurav, you recently partnered with Swiggy and Blinkit to deliver gold in 10 minutes, right? Or whatever is now the time that they're allowed to say. So for a high ticket, high trust item, that is a massive psychological leap, right? I mean, buying gold from quick commerce. Was the challenge more about the back end logistics or about convincing the consumer that instant gold is just as secure as a bank locker?
So I would say, primary challenge was the consumer mindset, not logistics. The key concerns that we were able to address were that it is authentic, it is safe, we have the certification, we have the trust of MDC-PAMP. So our strategy was to leverage the established platforms, and speed, of course, becomes a signal of confidence and accessibility. In fact, it is an open box delivery when you order from a quick commerce website. There is some sort of an authentication there as well. These platforms become very relevant during the time of festive season, like Akshay Tritiya or Dhanteras, wherein people need the gold and silver product quickly and not keep waiting. I think the accessibility has really helped.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is MediaCast, the podcast series from MediaBrief.com. I'm Pavan R Chawla. With me is Gaurav Nijhawan, marketing head at MMTC-PAMP. Gaurav, you are delivering gold via Blinkit. Is a 10-minute delivery window a marketing gimmick? Or is it the future of how India will buy its most precious asset, especially the younger ones?
See, quick commerce is definitely very relevant now, especially during the special occasions of Akshay Tritiya and other gifting occasions. In fact, some of these platforms that we've tied up with include open box gifting, which further enhances the trust of customers. And some of the regular marketplaces also have insurance for the metal. So metal industry, especially which is consumer facing, must move ahead based on consumer sentiments and deliver the results as well.
So it is the future of how India will buy its most precious asset, is what you're saying?
I think we have to, any industry has to move with consumer sentiment. I don't think it's about just the quick commerce bit or the marketplace bit. If it means opening more stores, that if the consumer wants it, the brands will be there. Currently, of course, like I said, on special occasions like Akshay Tritiya and all, wherein the need is to get the gold then and there, I think the brands have to be there where the consumers are.
Gaurav, now engaging the next generation. Let's talk about that. A major challenge for any legacy category, and gold is truly legacy, is reaching younger, modern consumers while retaining legacy trust. Like you just mentioned, how a Blinkit will give you open delivery and then the customer can even verify. And you said the biggest strength of gold is that you can verify the claim, right? So, how do you speak to a Gen Z or millennial consumer who might find physical gold old fashioned but is very comfortable with digital assets? Is digital gold the gateway drug to physical ownership for them?
Yeah. So very, very interesting question again. I would say younger consumers are not anti-gold. I think they are just anti-inconvenience. They don't want to be inconvenienced by or be hassled by very long processes or figuring out what to do. They need to be educated properly, and then of course they would understand and make the decision on their own. For example, the entry point itself, you can see the growth of digital gold, right? It gives you low ticket size, easy access, all that the Gen Zs of the world, the younger generation wants. So people are definitely progressing towards it. So we'll see a very good mix of both digital as well as physical gold. Because our focus areas and everybody's focus areas are around the accessibility, or if you can do the design innovation, and have a very digital first communication. Where our consumers are, we need to be there.
So, anti inconvenience, definitely pro gold. And also, I think these younger, young mavericks, they like to even buy on impulse very often. So, yeah, and if it's available and you want to pick it up, there you are. I mean, you have another customer and they have another product they like.
Right. I just wanted to add as well, consumers are also like spoiled for choice now, right? So I mean, if they were to go to store, they can buy it. If they were just to shop on marketplaces or direct to consumer channels, they can buy, or even invest with digital gold, right? So it's like the fintech ecosystem has actually evolved. I mean, previously people had options of FD or mutual funds or stocks. Now digital gold and silver are definitely very prominent options for consumers, especially when they feel that okay, certain market is not performing well or certain stocks are not performing well. They like to diversify their portfolio, and I mean gold and silver have been like very reliable investment options in the past as well.
Let's talk, Gaurav, now about the sheer scale of the opportunity here. I mean, MMTC PAMP is pioneering the modernization of trust by evolving precious metals from traditional locker assets into dynamic lifestyle choices for a new generation of Indian investors. So, Gaurav, give us a guesstimate on the number of such potential Indian investors, the new ones, and the impact and growth potential you see for MMTC PAMP in the Indian ecosystem.
It's difficult for me to give any numbers because ideally I should not be giving any numbers, but I could just talk about what MMTC PAM actually brings together, because MMTC PAM actually brings together India's trust, being associated with the MMTC Limited, as well as Swiss Excellence, which is a joint venture between both the parties. We offer internationally accepted investment grade purity, India's first LBMA-accredited gold refinery products, which gives you transparency, authenticity, and easy liquidity as well. Beyond purity, MVC PAM products also stand for exclusive designs and collectibles. So it is not just investment; it also marries the aesthetics, which are very culturally, like inspired. For example, we recently launched the Lord Hanuman the silver coin. In fact, we did a very innovative packaging as well, and it was a complete experience for the customer.
Born of the wind, his strength was boundless. Yet his heart found its true home in a bond of eternal loyalty to Ram. His hope could move mountains. To find Sita, he reclaimed his forgotten divinity, bridging oceans in a single bound. He used the enemy's fire to honor his eternal vow, and his faith transcended form, housing the divine within. Today, that same purity and strength are cast in a timeless form. A tribute to Pavan Putra in 50 grams of 999.9 plus purest silver and the finest Swiss craftsmanship, reflecting his courage with a radiant mirror finish. Encased with the sound of devotion and absolute purity, MMTC PAMP presents the Lord Hanuman Purest Silver Bar.
Lovely, lovely.
We had the Hanuman Chalisa, and once somebody opens the box, a devotional chant also plays. So, MTC PAM also is taking care of that experience. It is not just, like you buy it from an investment standpoint and keep it in your locker, right? It is actually even a badge value, I would say, that, you would actually like to share with your loved ones and showcase it to them, what an innovation. And maybe, carry it with you wherever you're going, given the devotional nature of some of these products as well. And then for from a growth standpoint, I see a lot of people accepting gold and silver physical products, not just from an investment standpoint, but also from a collectible standpoint as well. And like we've discussed, the digital gold, of course, is now exploding in terms of the growth levels as well.
Wonderful. This is MediaCast, the podcast series from MediaBrief.com. I'm Pavan R Chawla. With me is the peerless Gaurav Nijhawan, Head of Marketing at MMTC-PAMP in India. Gaurav, why MMTC-PAMP for India?
So MMTC PAMP brings together India's trust and Swiss excellence. It's a joint venture between MMTC Limited and PAMP, which is one of the largest refiners of gold and silver in the world. It's based out in Switzerland. It offers internationally accepted investment grade purity as India's first LBMA accredited gold silver refinery. It ensures transparency, authenticity, and easy liquidity for the customers. Beyond purity as well, MTC products stand out for their exclusive designs and collectibles with premium aesthetics, making them ideal for gifting, saving, and legacy creation as well. So, in a nutshell, MTC PAMP gives you trust, beauty, and value in just one product.
Wonderful. More strength to you. Gaurav, let's move to reputation and trust architecture at MMTC PAMP. Let's discuss that in a category where trust is the primary currency. How important is reputation management for you today? It's more like a rhetorical question. I know it's very important, but how do you go about protecting and enhancing your reputation in the marketplace?
Reputation is everything for a brand like MTC PAMP. We are constantly growing the brand value. The awareness and the preference for our brand is increasing every day. And at the end of it, since we are known for best quality, purest form of gold and silver, we cannot really go wrong in that. Right. So all the accreditation that we've taken over, the ethical sourcing that we are into, all of that has actually now building our reputation to be in the minds of customers that you cannot go wrong with an MMTC PAMP gold and silver product. Right. So it's built through our consistent quality checks, the transparency in purity and sourcing, the communication that we have, that what we're writing in terms of 99.99 plus, we are ensuring that whatever we've written in terms of weight and purity levels, it has positive purity and weight tolerance. So you always get more than what we've promised. So that's the trust that customers now are now having, because it gives a very organized way of buying gold and silver coins and bars, and that is a one big need gap that we've kind of covered.
Okay, and not only doing all these very reliable, verifiable, and credible things, but also perhaps telling the world about them in a subtle way. So, I mean, how do you work on that with your communication partner?
We have made sure that we only partner with very strong partners. We don't really call our agencies as vendors. I mean, they are our partners, and there is one trust that we've given to them, that they will never let us down. So one is that choosing the right partner as your communication agencies, then choosing the right channels. So we are also trying to grow our social media channels. Instagram, for example, is more than 1 lakh followers now. So a lot of communication also flows through us, right? And I mean, from a communication standpoint, those are the kind of things that we talk about, and we make sure that we are very consistent in our USPs. So the purity levels or the weight tolerance and other. So we say those things again and again because we truly believe in those things, and we are very consistent in our communication. We really do not want to confuse our customers into something that we are not. So I would say that us being very consistent in our communication is what is helping us.
Lovely. I mean, if you're consistent with the value you deliver, the manner in which you do it, and the kind of perception that you have in the marketplace is going to be a result of that. And your communication partner always helps you take that to the next level in terms of awareness, right? So great, wonderful. Gaurav, turning to some industry myths and leadership. What is the biggest marketing myth about trust that you have had to debunk since joining this sector?
I would say, this industry is giving me a very good mix of what I've done in the past. So while I was in a product-based company, retail setup, Carlsberg and Tuborg, so that was like a product kind of a role that I had. And then I did more than a decade in banking and fintech industry, which was like a service driven or fintech driven kind of a company. So this is a mix of both. It's a product as well as it's fintech, as well as it is investments. So one myth that I have figured out across is that is trust traditional, or like it is just based on the past habits, whatever has happened. But I would say now the trust has become the experiential. Customer like to experience you first and then trust you. So like I was mentioning that the gold will ask you to verify. It gives you proof of execution. So that's one thing that I've really noticed, that whatever promise that you make in this category, it has to be verifiable. So verifiable promise is one thing that I've learned.
Lovely, Gaurav. Now, for the marketers listening, if you are managing a legacy or conservative brand, what is the first step to making it culturally current without losing the core trust?
So, it's very interesting. The cultural relevance, it is something that I always get fascinated about. And I would like to give you some examples of some very culturally relevant products that we launched and how it really helped us carry our legacy as well. And but also come up with certain cool products. I would say, some products that people would just see and want to own. So, for example, we were thinking of launching something for the Indian consumer, something that will bring them back to their roots, right? So we launched a coin by the name of Sone Ki Chidiya, and typically you will just collect a coin, right? And but then people have certain pride. India being called as Sone Ki Chidiya at once upon a time, and it's also like a aspiration to become like that once again, right? So this is something that marries both legacy as well as future thinking approach. And when we launched it, people really just loved it. I know people just really aspired to buy that kind of a product. So it's very important to launch those kind of products. So, for example, we also launched during Navaratras Mata Vaishno Devi silver coin. Now there are like many silver coins, Mata Vaishno Devi, right? But this kind of storytelling and the cultural insight that we were able to tell in our video segments. So we told the whole story of how Mata Vaishno Devi went through the struggles in the mountains, and how Bhairavnath was consumed by arrogance, and how she was able to showcase her Shakti and be able to create that legend for herself, and a lot of people worship her for her Shakti and devotion, etc. So when we did that, we could see like people having goosebumps watching those kind of content that or storytelling that goes behind in creating such a coin as well. So I think being culturally relevant is very important.
Excellent. And regarding professional mentorship for the next generation of marketing, okay, professionals entering the industry, what are the, let me say, three most important values or traits that you always look for when you're hiring for your team?
I think one of the most important things that I have figured out is that the curiosity of trying to solve a problem, not get perturbed by the challenge itself, but just being curious enough to figure out what is the problem and how to find the solution. I think that's a very basic thing. If any marketer is just starting off, because it is always going to be evolving. Like the way we were doing marketing 10 years back, 20 years back, is not the same. The platforms have changed, the communication has changed, the way we interact with customers has changed. But what has remained constant is that always the marketer who had the curiosity to be able to solve the problem have worked well. I would also say the agility, like for example, like being able to adapt to things. For example, AI is coming up, right? So a lot of people get scared by AI. Okay, what is going to, some people find it very complicated. But then the realization that how do we leverage those kind of AI tools um, uh, for our work, and just improve our strategy because of that. That is one more important aspect. And finally, I think one of the most important aspect is the ownership. I mean, if marketers need to take ownership for their product, for their whole product as well as life cycle, it is not marketing is not just communication. It is, I mean, like traditionally we say, like creating, communicating, and delivering value, right? So you need to complete the whole loop. It starts from the need of the customers and creating a trust or a promise, and then fulfilling that trust as well. So those are the important aspects I would suggest a new age marketer to learn.
Lot of insights there, Gaurav. I've enjoyed our conversation. What did you think of our chat today on MediaCast?
No, it was. I think it was a lovely session. And thank you so much for having me once again. I loved how we touched upon the cultural nuances to the why we are launching these kind of products, the whole industry of gold and silver, and how things have evolved from product based companies to fintech to now gold and metals sector as well. So it was great talking to you. Thank you so much for asking these questions that brought so many insights from me as well. So so it's very rare that you go to a podcast and you're able to come up with new things. You really got me thinking about like what kind of work we are doing and why we are doing as well. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Gaurav. Really, it was very interesting and insightful for me too. And your the insights that you shared will definitely help a lot of marketers, especially when you were speaking about the kind of qualities you look for when you're hiring for your team. And what do you think of this kind of work that MediaBrief does? Podcasts and the debriefs and the leader speaks and everything else. I mean, if there's ever any suggestion or just your view on what you think we are doing, it'd be great to take it to my team.
Thank you, Pavan. So, Pavan, I think you're doing a fabulous job. I think you're actually building a community for the marketeers, and I really like. It's not just having leaders come and speak about their work, but it's also the leaders sharing their knowledge for the future leaders as well. So, I think you will be a very good interface as well between how marketing is evolving from current leaders to the next set of leaders as well. And I really love listening to your podcast, and I really follow your uh, website as well, like for new announcements, etc. as well. So yeah, thank you so much, Pavan, for a great job here.
Thank you, Gaurav. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. Thanks for your kind words and for this conversation. Thanks again. As is my format, I always thank those who do good work. So for those who made this interaction possible, in your case, Vashanti Shukla and Tanya Rana of Attractors PR. Gaurav Nijhawan, Marketing Head at MMTC-PAMP. Thank you for being with me on this episode of the MediaCast podcast.
Thank you, Pavan.
So that was Gaurav Nijhawan, Marketing Head at MMTC-PAMP, with his insights about an organization that is pioneering the modernization of trust in precious metals. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I personally did. Till we meet again in the next episode of MediaCast, a podcast series on MediaBrief.com. This is the host and friend Pavan R Chawla saying, take care, stay safe, bye-bye.